the language in the black community is about who do you know. That is already breaking the law, the moral law. The moral law is you will get it if you deserve it. Now
True.
it's about who do you know.
So what up guys, welcome back. My name is Luc, and guys, thank you so much for joining us today. So today I'm joined by Christopher and we have our two lovely guests. Guys, please introduce yourself.
I need to go first.
Alright. Hello guys, talking to Rhymes over here.
And my name is Rudy Samuel, the one and only.
Yeah. Welcome guys, and thank you so much for this time.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, man.
You're welcome guys, it's
Nice
a pleasure.
to be on this side of the camera.
It's a pleasure guys, it's a pleasure.
One of my few, so it's exciting.
Yeah, dude, welcome.
Over to you, bro.
Yeah, another topic that we've got here. It's more like a comment that we're gonna just like deliberate on. So this person posted a Twitter feed that said 7 reasons why degree/diploma holders are poor, and then point number 3 really caught our eye, and that's why we wanted to talk to you guys about it. So it reads. Reason number 3, their certificates prepare them for a world that no longer exists. It has been found that most of the skills taught in schools are becoming obsolete in the present world. The world has changed a lot, and so are people's need. It is imperative to know that the present form of, well, they didn't continue, but the point is that this individual, I think, DP is a girl, it's like their certificate prepares them for a world that no longer exists. What say you about that, gentlemen? Do you feel like the education system is not equipping students or learners or whatever it is for a world that is relevant to their studies?
I think what's true today is a lot more people are working for themselves. That in itself is a different world to what maybe our parents knew. I know, for example, my dad, what he knows is go to work, study to get a job. You know what I'm saying? That's how they grew up in those times. And I think today a lot more people are working for themselves, or even if people have a corporate 9 to 5, blah, 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 they still have their side hustles because everybody wants to be their own boss. I do believe you should go to school. I think it's important in certain aspects, but I don't think it's the only thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add on what Rudy says, the thing is, reading that, we need to remember one thing. One thing is knowledge has no limit.
Yeah, true.
What you're learning at school will not be the same thing you will learn outside of school. What school does is school prepares you with the fundamentals, the basics that you need to know. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Those are the fundamentals. But when you go outside, the outside world has a different knowledge to teach you. Now it is up to you as an individual to have that open mindset to say, listen, I'm open to learning new things. Hypothetically, or typical example I can give, I studied operations management. I go outside in the world, you go into the world of operations itself, you find that there's a whole technology system you need to adapt and understand and learn in that field, which school didn't equip you for, because knowledge is always improving and it's always changing.
Yeah. True. School teaches you theory. You will read in operations management, because we did the same thing. We had these big textbooks. We just flip and highlight and memorize and cram, and there's a lot of theory at school. I also believe school teaches you how to think outside of the box in certain aspects in life, and I also believe school introduces you to people that can help you grow outside of life. So school is important. There is a place for school, but it's just how you make it work for yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate because I did engineering, and what you study versus what you've got to do, big difference, right?
Big.
Education's, I think, computer systems like SCADA, which is a control system thing, I had to learn when I went to the industry. Like, you've got to start from scratch and learn that. Just as well, you didn't learn it at school. But yeah, I do kind of tend to be on your side when you say education should not be limited. For me, I am not so with the comment, because like this person makes it as if that you having a certificate is like the worst thing ever. I don't know if you guys have seen that, right? There's this self-help culture.
Yeah, today, this independence
hustle culture, where people like, screw school, who needs that? And then I'm like, nah, bro, you need school. Like, it might not, it might not make sense, but you will definitely see the application of it in one or two places.
That's true.
You know, just to add on that as well, because I see both sides of the story here. The other side of the story I see from this lady is that some of the things school are teaching the children or people from varsity, high school is outdated. You go out in the outside world, you find a whole new world. If the school system can at least bring up about syllabuses that are up to date or relevant to this modern world, we'll be out here learning operation. That is something, and the syllabus, you find that the syllabus is back like 15 years ago.
Even 30
10 years ago, 30 years
yeah.
ago. That is old school. The world is changing, and it's changing rapidly.
But
so I see the sense where she's coming to say, they're giving us certificates, but going out there, we'll find that I learned one thing, but here I'm learning a whole new thing.
And just, sorry, Luke, just to add on to that, let's go to life orientation. They always teach you, wear a condom, don't smoke, don't drink. How about teaching people how to pay bills? A lot of us leave varsity and then you have this salary, and it's like, what do I do with this? Because you hear on YouTube, on TV, save your money, open an investment account, do this, but people don't know which investment accounts to open. Why should I open a retirement annuities, blah, blah, blah. Why not open an investment account that grows over time? So if they can become more adaptable and more relevant, it helps people. Even making sure that every matriculant gets a learner's driver. Then you take care of a driver's license on your own, Small stuff like that, because some jobs won't hire you if you don't have a driver's license, and then you're screwed, you know what I mean? So, bro, it's a tricky
Yeah, Luke, what point were you gonna make it, bro?
I had an issue with this. I had an issue. I had a big issue with this. Because I think we in a society, right? I think we spoke about it the last time to say, we have an issue. It's more like a group to group type of war that goes on. You find that society in all its, entirety, right, tends to classify themselves according to groups. So in this situation, we have the uneducated, then we have the educated. And I feel there's this tendency, right, that both these two groups tend to smite each other. In one like point or another. Right? It's two extremes. Yeah, they tend to have, what do we call them? Like diatribes, yes, that speak against each other. In this case, I had an issue because already from every point she made, you can see this is not an educated person.
You don't think she's educated?
That's a big assumption.
No, she's not. No, she's not. Because if you go through all the 7 points, she didn't advocate, not at one point, any point, did she advocate for education. And
so you're saying she's basically hating on those that have an education? I
feel like that, because, if you want to make an analysis, right, you should find a middle ground to it. You can't go to the extreme of things.
Fair point.
She listen to the thing. She's like, 7 reasons as to why degree and diploma holders are poor.
Poor, bro. That is heavy.
Or what if she's a rich woman who became rich without having to go to school, and she's telling people it's possible? Because ultimately we want to be rich, isn't it?
But then this raises the same point she makes, where it sounds as if she's not educating, not
so
she's taking the one group.
Exactly, but now she's showing, you go to school, but look at me. I have all this money and I didn't go to school.
Yeah, but look, fine. Let's say degree and certificate holders aren't doing so well in the job market or whatever.
Anyway.
Yeah, like for me, definitely. Poor is an extreme word in this context. Poor in its definition, the definition of poverty is if you lack your basic needs, right? Like shelter, food, water, basic things. I don't know. Okay, like I know a lot of my friends that I went to school with. Granted, some of them didn't really get jobs the same time I did or whatever, but we weren't like
They
poor.
can't afford. They can't afford what food.
It's not like they were staying on the street or whatever. Like I feel like she's being extreme in saying that they're poor. And another thing is that she wasn't basing any of her points on like facts.
She didn't substantiate any
I-
of
I
those
Wasn't,
points.
yeah.
I read, right, and I did some prior reading before the episode, and it's like, what are the top 10 in-demand skills in the job market right now? Bro, 8 out of 10 of those skills you need to go to varsity for. No cap. I'm telling you, bro. Engineering, okay, granted, there are other platforms of education. You know, online education is a billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
Especially since
Yeah, since COVID happened, it's projected to hit $1 trillion by 2027. That's good. Education in general is good. People acknowledge that you need education, but these things have a limit, right? What you get from online course versus what you get from being in university is two completely different things, bro.
I agree. I mean, going to varsity is an experience in itself. Everything, you know, student center, chilling on the grass,
You already know.
cramming before an exam, asking your friends, did you study this page?
Having
What
your
do you know
friends sign
from
the
this?
register for you.
You know,
You get me?
that
Like,
teaches you how to hustle, you know?
pretty much.
Teaches you how to work your way around tight situations in real life, you know, all of those things, having someone do your assignment for you, you know, it's an experience, bro.
It teaches you economics. You pay for services, right? Like that's how the real world works. If you need a service or a good, you pay for it.
Yeah.
You want your assignment done, you pay me. Like it's. I mean, we're not advocating like guys.
But
do
it is what it
assignments,
is. If
please.
you were in varsity, you know
But I
what
mean,
it is.
There's also an advantage to online. I mean, you think about it, like right now with these courses that example Google is giving, where it's pre-recorded, people get to study at their own pace.
True.
We go to varsity, but we don't all understand at the same pace.
Yeah, it's
true.
You find that your
Finish at
friends
the
know
same time.
everything before the exam, but you're still
you, like-
struggling to understand that one thing.
True.
And you find that online gives us that platform where to say, listen, here's the studying tools, study at your pace. When you're done, submit that assignment and get your certificate. So there's advantages to it, really.
It puts the power in your hands a bit, right? But then
Accountability teaches you that.
it teaches you accountability, but I don't think so. I disagree with that because
With what?
the whole construct of the school system with deadlines is, I feel, to get you out of your comfort zone. And I think that's the one that really teaches you accountability, where they like, you have X amount of days to get it done. And in varsity, it's not really lenient. I don't know if you guys had it the same way.
Yep.
At least with my course, they weren't lenient, bro. They were not lenient
lucky.
at all. Dude,
Yeah, we were free, though.
12 o'clock is 12 o'clock. If you're not submitting at 12 o'clock, let's say you didn't send the email at like 11:59, any time after 12, you're getting penalized, bro. Best believe.
Oh yeah, no, we did have that on
Yeah,
turn it
yeah.
in or whatever. Yeah, no, if you didn't send it at 12, you get
It's
50% off, or if you
In
get
general,
0.
like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
happens.
yeah.
So now, when you're giving people all this freedom to do things at your own pace, man, you know, it's all good. I'm not that for me, that part of the online education is where I kind of draw back. I mean, I love the concept. I think it works. I think it's brilliant. I think it's got a lot of potential.
It
right?
does. It does.
But could it be that that very culture of online education, because it can tie in with hustle culture and self-help culture,
It
could
does.
it be that online education is pushing self-help culture and is deluding people into believing, listen, traditional education doesn't cut it anymore. You can always do this, you can always do that, you can always do that.
You see
do you
that
think?
it does. I have an issue. I always have issues.
Those are issues, man.
I have an issue also with that, you know, it's that type of mentality. You know, you can study and, you know, hustle, you can study and hustle. Cool. It sounds good on paper, it sounds good on YouTube and all. It ties in with the motivational self-help type of, you know, guys. I have an issue with those guys because those guys, majority of those guys are not even educated. And this is how they get rich, by pulling in people, sucking in, you know, with dreams. You can make it without education, you know. You can do it without education. The likes of Tony Robbins, yeah, you can make it without education. And they attract a lot of people, but over time they don't even show the results of these individuals. But if you look at the testimonials and all, Bro, it's funny, it's bad. A lot of people spend a lot of money every single year. You know that self-help culture is a lot of money as well. A lot of billions go into that. But why is it that in as much as people are investing in all this, we don't see enough good results in society? Why is it that the gap between the rich and the poor is still widening?
Law.
You think it's the law?
It's law.
Okay, how so?
There are moral laws and there are government laws.
Okay.
Moral laws is within you. You're born with it. You know that I can't kill this person. There's something in you that tells you can't kill a person. It's within your conscious. Or we can even call it conscious law.
An inherent law.
There we go.
Okay.
Inherent law. That's even a better word. And we're in such a society where people don't even look at that anymore. They don't care about it. Now it's all about, like you said, self-help, where I'm going for what I want, and if it means sacrificing whatever's before me, I will do so. Example, let's say mining companies. We know now that a lot of mining companies are trying to go green and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But how much have they done? How much destruction have they done
already
down there or onto the earth? Global warming example. Some private mining companies, CEOs, they knew that whatever they're doing is causing a lot of global warming issues. But because of the after numbers and money, that conscious law is gone. They don't have it anymore.
Okay, so you think it plays a big role in the widening of
Plays a big role. I think it plays a big role in our society. The moment we exclude laws, conscious law, government laws are placed there for a reason. To govern us, to not to distract others in the pursuit of our own benefits.
Don't you think that's when we agree on the importance of education? Because it helps cultivate that very...
Are we going to leave education and go into school? What about education from childhood?
That's a good point, actually.
Okay, that's a good point.
Okay,
when do you want to tackle it? Childhood first?
Yeah,
then we take it to school.
Simple childhood education, like please and thank you. Please and thank you. If you want something, please
say please, and then when you get it, you say thanks.
Greeting your elders, showing respect to your elders, not being rude, not killing. Because inherit law, you inherit it from somewhere. Someone has to have taught you what you know today. So if you have a bad education and you don't have a mental education, what are you then as a human being?
Okay, so education is completely useless, redundant, without the moral. Okay, it goes back to his point. Without those very fundamental.
Yeah. Because even if someone didn't have the best education for financial reasons, if they were taught to be a good person from childhood, that person will somehow make it.
For sure. I agree with Rudy big time. If you don't have the moral education, the upbringing, if it's not a part of you, it will become a lot easier for you to rubbish things that make sense, right? Because to you, look, your morals are already messed up. You can easily put things to the side. You can easily discredit things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really have that thing to say, you know what, let me look at what the other side has to say. Let me maybe consider what they need to say and then compare it with what I believe. Which is why you can get people that are like completely on self-help and they have no conscious, they don't really care what's going to happen. Like, what are the consequences of us pushing the self-help culture?
Or maybe some people were even brought up to be self-help. So
a lot of people
like what is a good upbringing, what is a good education, and then what is a good education at school? Because someone can be educated to be a bad person, an independent, self-help culture, blah, blah, blah. Like parents today, maybe they can teach their kids to be self-help kids. So what is a good education and what is a good education from school?
So, okay, from this point, I think let's bring this to this point. Does that mean the education you get at home, right, somehow determines how you interpret the education you get in school and how you use it? Does it not determine how you use it ultimately?
I think it does. Because my mom always told me, even if you don't like what you're studying, go to school because it teaches you how to deal with people. It teaches you how to think beyond here. It teaches you how to handle your finances. It teaches you how to handle people's personalities and people's ways. And that's what I learned. So now any situation I find myself in, I think, how is this going to help me in the long run? How can I do this? How can I do that? How can I change? And that's the education I got from home.
So in this case, what do we say now about the lady? Because she was a bit rude to degree and diploma holders.
upset.
Yeah, nah, Luke isn't happy with that comment.
Yeah, no, don't you think she was a bit rude? Because if you're really educated and you have the basics of education, you will learn that it's good to respect others. And when you present such a point, you should have a middle ground to it. Don't be so radical on the east side of things, and you only look at things from that very perspective.
Sorry, before you go, why do I feel like here's a twist. Why do I feel like she is educated? Think about it, bro. When we go to varsity, right, and the more you start off really hopeful, like, oh man, I'm new here. I'm gonna finish in 4 years.
3 years.
You know, that was me. Bro, that 3 years is like the best 7 years of your life.
That was just 4.
So anyway, I'm gonna finish in 3 years. I'll get my degree. I'll start working. As you actually start doing this thing, you start realizing, hang on, this is a bit tough. It might be like 5 years. And you're like, okay, no, probably 7. And then when you get to finishing, then you realize, oh no, I still need to get a job. I still need to compete with these other people. And that mindset, right, that I'm gonna be poor because I chose to study is actually cultivated in university. Could it be then that this individual is a result of that? Like,
do you think she's resentful?
Bro, I've seen LinkedIn posts, right? I was scrolling through LinkedIn the other day. Some guy was standing at the robots. He had a signboard that was like, Masters in Electrical Engineering. Something like, I need a job. You know what I'm saying? I mean, dude, if you're in varsity, you know that's not how you apply for a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, go on the internet or something.
What if he can't get a job? Because now that's a governmental issue. I'm sure this guy has sent his CV, whether it was physical, whether it was on LinkedIn or whatever. But what if it's become a country issue?
Even if it's a country issue, you're not gonna, dude, you have a better chance of getting a job as a painter or somebody that's gonna do your tiles at the street corner. Who's gonna drive past and be like, man, if only I knew a guy who did a PhD in electrical. Whoa!
There's the guy. There's my man right there.
Nobody does that, bro.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. What if he was desperate to get a job? What if he doesn't want to be a painter? He doesn't want to be a security guard. He's like, no, bro, I studied 7 years to be a mechanical engineer. Just to go be a security. No, I'm going to go to the streets. Big bosses drive up and down.
I feel like that's a dumb thing to do. On anybody who does that, I'm sorry, you wasted your time. Why'd you go to varsity? You're making us look bad. And that's why I think this lady, I'm starting to believe that she probably did go to varsity. And
resentful?
She's resentful of the fact that maybe what she had in mind when she started isn't what she actually encountered in real life. And now she's played it, she's got into that trap that a lot of varsity people get into, like, yeah, you know what? I'm probably gonna work for somebody and I wanna be poor because I chose to go to school.
Okay.
I'm starting to believe that now, bro.
Self-help gurus, I have an issue. They're too extreme. Now, I think the funny thing people don't understand with this self-help culture, it goes back to what you were saying. The culture that tells you can do it. You can start a business now and earn a lot of money next week. You know? The problem is we don't see, people get hooked up in the dream so much. And I feel like the market and the target point of this individual is, uneducated people. Because, bro, the basics of education, right? The basic of education tells us you put in the work, then you get results, right? You can't get results you never worked for, right? That's the basic. We all got that in school, even though it was not communicated verbally, but it was said in one way or another.
Yeah.
You wrote an exam, the results came out.
You felt because you didn't study.
You know yourself, what you were doing there at night. You didn't study here.
Exactly. So I feel there's this agenda where people are just pushing with this to get people's money, pushing with this, and they're targeting the uneducated people. And I advocate for education because it's a very important thing people need.
But some people are educated, just gullible. You believe everything you see, because another part of social media that I don't like is showing false success. So you get guys who will go hire Louis V bags. They will post, and then this person will think, this girl, this guy has Louis V bags, but you don't know what's in that bag. It's just a box.
It's just a box.
So you can be educated. You can go to school for 4 or 5 years, but you're just gullible. So that's a you thing, man.
I feel like it's the semi-educated that take the full brunt of it. Like,
what's semi-educated? Stopping at matric?
No.
Don't say that.
It's not, okay, I'm not gonna, semi-educated for me is not stopping at any certain level. You could finish from grade 1 to 12 and still be semi-educated. This is where you don't fully immerse yourself in the study or the course of study. You're not there to understand, you're there to like be there basically, right? Okay. You haven't fully understood what it is, therefore you are semi-educated. Okay. I'd rather be on either extreme. I'd rather be uneducated where I'm aware of the fact that I don't know, or I am educated and I know that, yes, this is what I know, I could probably know more. The bad thing about being in between is you think you know, whereas you don't. And those, I feel, Rudy, those are the people who you say are educated and yet gullible. They never, like, they half-assed it, basically. They didn't really take it upon themselves to get really what was being presented to them. Not even, if you go outside the classroom, bro, I mean, if this person was being taught a skill, let's teach you how to be a bricklayer, they'd be there physically and be like, okay, let me see what it looks like. Okay, I'm gonna be on my phone for a bit, look at it. Yeah, I kind of get it. Now it's time to do the job. You pay them and now your walls are falling down. You're like, bro, what's going on? You know? So I feel like a lot of people actually do fall into that trap where we do not immerse ourselves into this. We don't take it too seriously. It might be for reasons like how this lady puts it out there, where we paint a picture that education doesn't get you anywhere. And it's something I'm getting a lot from kids in high school, you know? Like,
because that's the language on social media.
Today,
yeah.
That's the language on social media.
Today's time. Oh, our kids
Today's time they say, listen,
man.
I don't need education to make it. No. Go to that school. 1, you're learning education. 2, you're learning those laws we spoke about.
True.
Governs your mind.
How to deal with your peers.
Yes, it governs
That's
your
one
mind.
of the most important lessons I've ever learned, dealing with people.
Mm-hmm. And where did you learn
this
that, bro?
thing at school.
Obviously, bro.
At school, bro. Whether it's the sports field, whether it's civics day when you're chilling in the morning, or whether it's a party that you got invited to because you attend the school, dealing with human beings is the most important thing. One of the most important things in this life.
Definitely.
And people really do forget that. Robert Kiyosaki's book, right?
Which one? Rich Dad?
The most overquoted book ever.
I know, a lot of people
if one
don't
more person has to quote Rich Dad Poor Dad, oh my lord, bro.
Bro, a lot of people don't understand it. I think he gave a definition of, it's a Latin definition of education. It's educo, right? Means to bring from within, right? It goes back to his point. There are those inherent values placed in us, conscious, values, unconscious values placed in us. But with the help of education, we help realize those values. And yes, that's his definition. He gave that definition. He says education is important. And funny enough, that man studied. That man has an MBA. But in his book, he will still tell you education is not that very important. The man has an MBA.
They don't just hand those out.
It's not the most important because you also have to be street smart. You can't just be book smart. Street smart is knowing how to talk to people.
True.
Knowing how to manipulate. Knowing how to clinch deals. Knowing how to, because like you said, we in business together and we work. But then you mentioned drinks. The first thing that came to my mind, okay, how could we possibly make use of this at our events? But if you're not street smart, how are you gonna think that? Someone who's not street smart, it was just gonna go past his face like this. Oh, okay, he makes drinks. Okay, cool. Next. But I thought, oh, how does he win and how can we win as a company?
True.
That's it.
I'm thinking of another aspect on what the lady says.
Okay.
She's been thinking of it where she says you don't need majority of the. Please repeat the quote it again.
She said the certificates that we get do not prepare us, or they prepare us for a world that no longer exists.
Oh, is it the first one? Why?
This is point 3, no?
Yeah. Oh, the question was, or the topic was, this is why degree or certificate holders are poor. Yeah.
Could we also then say that schooling system waste a lot of our people's time?
How so?
Okay. You're going into the field of, let me not find something more complex like engineering. Engineering is very complex. Let's say marketing.
Okay.
You go into school of marketing, you do 3 years for your degree, or 4 years, whichever it comes. In that 4 years, you go apply for a job. They tell you, no, you don't have the experience. You must start as an intern. At times, they won't even take you as an intern. But imagine if you decided to go straight into the field instead of studying and say, listen, I'm here to intern, or I'm here to learn. Can we then say that learning in the field is way more valuable than learning at school?
Yes, it is.
Because it's in the field, it's so much practical. But over there, it's so theoretical. All it's teaching us is cram, get that answer right, move on. Cram, get the answer right, move on. Although we do understand, okay, like you mentioned at the beginning, we need to understand what exactly we're doing, but you can't fully understand it in school. You can only fully understand it in the field. So
True.
Can we then see, maybe she's coming from a point of saying school is a waste of time.
You need to be much practical.
Be more practical. Get in that field.
True.
So I see where she's coming from. I just don't know what to make of it. Where school is sort of.
Okay. Can we say that the system, not that we're blaming, but has the system failed us because there's not enough opportunities for job placements once you finish? It's only if you're doing like accounting and stuff where you already have a job in 3 years' time because they're paying for your bursary. Why is there not a system where if you finish your 3 years of your degree in operations management, you go to Unilever, you go to Coca-Cola, you go to these places, you do these things, and then after your internship is done, then it's on you. Were you good enough in the internship or not? Because how do these people expect us to get jobs at 24, but you need 2 years of experience, but at 22 or 5?
5 years,
but
bro.
At 19, I was in second year.
Make it
Where
make
do we get the
sense.
5 years?
Do you see that?
Makes sense.
Okay. You see, in as much as I do disagree with the lady, right? With the aspect, I think it's too radical. Fine. I won't take that same aspect to things because I like to balance things off. That's how things make sense and that's how we get to the meaning of things. Fine. I'll look at it in this aspect. This is my definition or the way I look at education in general, right? The educational system is not perfect. It's not. It's set up for a world that is no longer, in tune with what is happening. Yes, it was set up like that. It was set up for workers, industrial areas, industrial ages or eras, yes. For that, we go to school, you specialize in this type of thing, then you go do this type of job to advance society.
Set up, right? And then you go home and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of those processes have been reduced. It's no longer a long process. You guys used to write quantitative techniques. You're right. Now it's Excel. Everything comes into order. Cool, right? Yes. So I felt education to some degree. It's that, but I still respect it for the fact that it gives us. There are certain values you would not get from going, to the workplace and from getting a skill immediately if you didn't go to school. The respecting your peers, learning to analyze things, from a mature perspective, differentiate them. You see, these are the benefits of education.
Work as a team.
Working as a
Especially
team.
those group assignments. Oh man,
Yeah,
those
those-
things were challenging, bro.
And I think they taught you the most about how it is to work in real life. Because at the end of the day, you will work with other people. You
And
need
you
to
can
know
even
how to
spot
manage
weakness
that.
in group assignments.
Absolutely.
Weakness in this assignment, in that assignment. You can even recognize your own weaknesses and say,
Absolutely.
yeah, I don't know way. So let me see, how can I not
you learn
look
from each other,
like I don't know?
Hence, I can't throw education under the bus all entirely. And yes, this is the negative side to it. Cool. The negative side, yes, is we're not prepared. Education is not everything, but we'll still agree to the fact that education is an introduction to somehow undergo that discovery of curiosity. Yes, because for me it was different. I did tell you, school was bad. In fact, I hated school. I hated. See, I hated school. I was in a Catholic school, a crash, hence my name. So Catholic school, I was all raised in the Catholic. So crash, I attended crash. It was nice. We used to old papers. It was all nice,
Crash
fun,
was such a vibe,
beautiful,
bro.
nice. It was within a compound, like a school compound. After that, you go to grade 1, the same area. So went to grade 1. I hated it because I would still see my crash, the gate closing. It was so bad. So you know what I used to do? Grade 1, I would bunk at the back of the Catholic church. I'll sit there the whole day. And you know Congo, it's 7, right? School, you enter school at 7, 12 you out. So from 7, I would sit till 12, go back home.
Oh, damn.
And bro, I was out.
Since way back, bro.
It's way back.
Since way back.
Inherently bad.
Yes. That was grade 1, right?
Dude.
When it came to academics, I was bad.
Okay.
But it changed when I did my tertiary. I excelled at it like crazy. I was even shocked. And the reason being is because I knew these things from way back. We're not getting taught these things, but I just was drawn to it. I mean, the reading, and I was drawn to the marketing and all this. It was a teacher. This man would talk about marketing, Robert Kiyosaki and all that. And I was like, okay, who are these guys? That's how I got into the books. And I started reading. And that's how my, tertiary years were fine. So these are just the good benefits of education personally. Hence, I advocate for it so much because, guys, you discover yourself in these places.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
can't just all of a sudden just say, no,
It's out.
it's out. And imagine telling this to an individual, telling primary school kids.
Yeah, like
Education.
You're wasting your time.
Yeah, you're
here.
wasting your time.
You shouldn't be here. I mean, it does a lot of damage. I think it does more damage than you are. Like if you wanted to inspire them to be independent, you're actually doing a lot more damage, because even if you go and, let's say, learn a new skill in the industry, guess what? You're being educated.
Yeah.
Albeit in a different
Knowledge
setting,
never ends.
right? That is being educated. If you're sitting in a classroom learning that 2 times 2 is equal to 4, and someone else is there laying bricks, and they like, okay, if you put these 2 bricks together like this, you're gonna have 4. Both of these individuals are being educated in very different manner, of course, which is why the points I think I can take away from that lady that I think I can agree with is, yes, the certificates or the degrees, etc., are not so like relevant in today's world now, because now you're looking at a world that is embracing artificial intelligence. You're looking at a world where you need to be computer savvy, you need to know how to use
Fully.
the
it's about
internet
who
and
you know
stuff.
as well.
It is also about who you know. And then you know what the scary thing is, bro? Like, people have this thing that AI is gonna replace us and we don't need to go to school anymore because they're just gonna design a bot and program it to do what I can do. The fact is, artificial intelligence will create about 27 million new jobs in the next 4 years.
It's created already a lot. Look at manufacturing companies like cars manufacturing companies.
There it is.
There's more artificial intelligence than humans.
Absolutely.
Robots are shifting cars, putting cars together. All humans are doing is overseeing it. It has already cut out so much jobs.
Which tells you that you need education, because you don't understand that that's how the economics works, bro. When AI speeds up things, it drives up the demand, therefore the supply is going to go up as well, and you're going to need people to work and do that. It's happened also in the Industrial Revolution, where you had all these machines come in, and then workers were getting worried, like, what about us? But if anything, it drove up textiles and all these other industries. So that's where definitely I still feel like you need to be in a classroom setting for the reasons we've talked about.
Yes.
But if the system had to be a little bit tweaked, where they take maybe a couple of minutes off of every lesson, 10-15 minutes, and they explain the practical elements of it. They explain how this can be used in a real life setting, you know. I had a young girl who told me that she's struggling with biology. She doesn't understand the notes. And I was like, well, you can just YouTube it. And she's like, my teacher says what you learn on YouTube is not what's relevant. I'm like, how does that make sense? It's common knowledge.
Yeah.
If you Google the brain, the parts of the brain, and YouTube it,
Google
it's exactly the same information you're going to get on the
everything
textbook. So,
And they need to modernize the syllabus anyway.
they do need to,
It's
man.
way
Like,
too old.
it's
But
so
how will they,
outdated.
guys? You see, that's the thing. I feel that system, education, like the mingling part, kids coming together, that should be kept. But the whole system of curriculum, we're learning the same things over and over again. That can be taken out. I feel that should be taken out. It's the most boring thing ever.
Example, I'll give you one thing that pissed me off back in the years when we were still doing ops. We studied what is it called? A course called Moment. You remember Moment? An outdated system, yet an outdated system. For you to pass it, you had to get more than 75. Less than 75, you fail. Outdated system. You go in the outside world, it's not.
I've
applicable.
never
It's
heard
not
of it.
applicable.
I have a certificate of a system that's outdated.
I didn't do it.
You didn't take
I
it?
didn't go to class. I said, I'm not going to do this.
I'm just like,
That was the first time I was a rebel. I was like, nah.
I
was like, I'm not
think
doing
about
this. I
it.
don't understand
They're
it.
telling us to study something that's outdated. We're not gonna use.
You see,
So what's the point?
it's pointless.
I
And,
never
and a lot
understood
of things I can relate to, because there were some courses in my course, I mean some subjects in my course, chemical engineering, where you're being taught how to design things on paper, and then you're like, hold on, we needed to do this like 30 years ago. Now we don't, because there's a program that does this. You know, I could just be given a data sheet and plug in the information and click run. Teach me how to use this program, so when I go outside, I know how to use it.
This goes back again to what I said a few times, is the disparity. I think you also said it. The private schools can have this equipment.
There we go.
Now go to the government schools, go to the schools in the township.
They
Some have
don't
no
have
roofs,
it.
bro.
Yeah.
They
If
don't
you go
have
to
it.
these private schools in Santon and stuff, 4 ways, blah, 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 they got the screens, they have the computers. It's just the nature of
So they educate,
game.
they're preparing their kids already. Does
the
it
rich
not,
remain rich.
That's it, bro.
guys?
And the
Gotta
poor will
be
get
exceptionally
certificates.
good to make it.
True. So prepared in all areas,
The
in your
rich-
communication areas. Yeah, I know how to associate and live with other people. Think, you know, your thinking skill, critical thinking abilities needs to be on point for you to make it.
Yeah.
Does that not say the odds are against the poor child?
The black child.
Okay, even if you don't put race into it, but yeah,
But
typically.
you know where we stay. I'm not a race guy.
No, I get
But
you.
you know
I
where we
get
stay.
you. I know exactly where we stay, bro. This is the land of, you know, where race really does play a big part. Who you
Still
are, who you
today,
can.
still today,
Absolutely.
the salary disparity, not even
Oh,
between
it's-
men and
it's-
women,
no,
is
it's-
huge.
it's
No,
bad.
between white and black is huge. We're now mid-20s. We just started working, blah, blah, blah. Our salary entry is not as high, but if you go to a white 21-year-old, after 3 years of studying marketing, he's already like 20, 30, 40,000 rand a month. What?
So
And
would
one thing I really hate is
Crazy.
how
Crazy.
in the black community, like we say, we're not really about race, but it's something that's happening. We're saying
It's prevalent, yeah.
where the language in the black community is about who do you know. That is already breaking the law, the moral law. The moral law is you will get it if you deserve it. Now it's about who do you know. Even if I don't deserve it, that's my brother. Hey yo, I need a job, bro. Hook me up. But you have somebody who's been working for you for 10 years, who's more deserving than your brother. You'll give it to your brother. And guess
nepotism.
what? Your brother will fail at what he's doing
Because he doesn't know what's a guan.
Nepotism.
because he hasn't understood the value of hardship. This person has been working way more deserving, but the language nowadays is who do you know?
So do you think the old educational system that we have now will fail more black people than the other races?
Wait, please repeat that question.
So do you think that the educational system that we have at the moment will fail us more as black individuals more than other races?
Yeah, that's a tricky one because I do believe there is more young black people trying to change the narrative in one way or
true,
another.
true.
But what's the probability of us succeeding at it?
Maybe
So
not.
optimistic on
Maybe
that, though.
maybe our kids or our grandkids. Maybe it will be better by like 4 for our grandkids. I think so.
I think the probabilities, it could be less, but it's doable.
It's
I mean,
doable, yes.
Think of the person that first created a plane. They went against all odds of physics. Yeah. A. They literally went against A to lift the plane up.
And leave it there for hours. Yeah.
The more you push, it'll work.
One thing I like about whites and Muslims and Jewish is that when they get there, they put their people on. One thing that needs to change in our community is this thing of, because he's doing it, I don't want to do it because he's already there. But if we can work together and be humble enough to work together, to bring your people up, if we can do that more and not be scared that, oh, if I put them up, they're going to be higher than me, then we'll be fine. I think I even told you that one day.
You did.
It's so important to forget that fear of, yeah, see, if I put this person on, he's going to kill me. So
It's gonna outdo me, right?
and then also you must
inherent fear, yeah.
you must not have that mindset of I'm gonna get
He's
that, I'm
gonna
be
do me.
better than him.
No, but guys, can we acknowledge the fact that we are the worst individuals, and that is capable of being done because, you know, black people.
Look,
No,
it's capable,
we need
but
to acknowledge
let's be
that fact.
honest.
That we need to acknowledge that
No, we
fact.
can, but then I feel like this is where actively changing the narrative can be applied. Where no, I think it's a test of, it's blind faith, bro. It's blind faith. You
have
need to
to be-
work in good faith. You
Yeah.
need to be like, look, you are capable of doing this, but I'm gonna close my eyes and pretend like I don't know you can do this.
It's hard.
I
hard.
think you
But
over
someone has to do it. Someone has to start.
It has to start.
Someone has to start, because
It
why
has to.
can't we have our own big firms in Santon, in Bryanston? Why not us? Why always them? You know. And even if our firms aren't in Santon, why not have an online business that
There it is.
employs people over and over again? You know.
Alrighty, it's your boy, the one and only ramsrammy. The discussion with Luc M today was beautiful, very informative. Guys, I'd advise you, like, share, subscribe when this launches, okay? Follow his page. There's way more videos that you can learn from, way more videos you can get from. Don't forget, we're running a business called The Acoustics Africa. You'll find it on Instagram called theacoustics.africa. Follow and stay tuned. Signing out.